So the way I see it, that what at a certain level, a certain perspective, is that we wake up in the morning and mind kicks in, and we have these stories, and then we react to the stories or respond to the stories, and then that gives us another experience, and then we react to that. So all day we have a reaction cycle going on the whole time we're awake. That's what we do. We react to our environment. If we don't react to our environment, then we're probably dead. Yeah.
So it's more seeing that it happens and recognizing it.
Yes. And it's a tricky one, but if we look to our intuition, it will tell us whether that reaction is triggered by something that we might call pathology, or is it triggered? Is it just just a reaction, and that's it? So of course that we can have reactions that we don't need to do anything about, you know, or we have reactions that we do something about, like hunger, for example. We react to hunger by eating. Well, that's appropriate, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But if we have an eating problem, then there's something else going on.
Yeah. I could notice. I did a session with someone yesterday about something what happened. I told you, I think, about thing happened in IKEA. I don't know if I
You
told it to
mentioned
you.
it, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was like I went inside, stayed with the sensation, and then I did get angry about it because I could not speak at home, you know, I get angry. So, and she asked me like, and so what's underneath the anger? So there was the pain in my heart. So I stayed with the pain, and it was quiet. And all of a sudden it was like some little voice came up and say, but it's your fault. You have to be. It was starting blaming. It was like, whoa, it was like shock that voice out of nothing, it came, and it was like, I was really, no. And then it really sank into my body and it was over. Like it felt like a release and it was over.
Yep. So one
I was like,
could
oh, wow.
imagine, we could imagine that little voice was expressing something that had been held in you from before, something you maybe as a child, who knows, probably as a child, and
Yeah.
and that anger it wasn't about what happened in IKEA. It was what happened in IKEA triggered that.
That,
That
yes.
little
Yeah.
voice was telling you about the origin of it. And we don't need to get into the details. You don't need to have a memory of the exact thing that happened, but the mere fact that you felt a release would suggest that you have now, how can I put it? You've put that thing to rest. It's probably won't come up again. Maybe it will.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
most
yeah, yeah,
likely
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
So
was like,
little
yeah,
voice
it
is your
was seen, it was
intuition.
really shocking seeing it, and
Yeah.
then it was gone. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because the moment that little voice said it's your fault, you saw how ridiculous that was.
Yeah, exactly. It was a shock, really. Like,
Yeah.
what is that?
So
Yeah.
one way to put that as I've seen recently and I've used myself, is that you reparented that. You reparented
Oh,
that little voice, that child's voice, that child who felt upset about being blamed,
uh-huh.
right? That you
Okay.
brought to it that
Yeah.
adult perspective, and so it was finished.
Okay. Yeah. Ah, okay.
That's my story about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, Lydia, what you just share, it is to me the highest practice, which is to really look at what is here and to pay attention. And when you pay attention, things happen naturally.
Mm.
You see, you pay attention to those feelings. You pay attention, and you get to a place of I don't know how to name it, but you know, of silence. And in there was a voice emerge, and
Yeah,
but you pay attention, and this is the highest practice to me. Everything else, it's kind of to to do that, you know, or to be there. Or I don't know how to name it without making it a practice again, but this is it, you know, really look at what is here. And
yeah, yeah,
the looking will do the work.
So
yeah.
don't get into the idea that you did something, right? Something happened, but there was no you doing it. You didn't do it. But what has happened was that something happened somewhere else, some other time recently, where you kind of gave permission for that to happen. You were no longer, say, in the past, what may have happened was that you would get sucked into what went on at IKEA, and you would be looking at the details of that, and that would be a way of avoiding whatever the trigger was, right? But because you had that relaxed attitude and you gave it permission to come up, so to speak. So these things happen when
Yeah,
you're ready, and you were obviously ready. Yeah, and that's brilliant, absolutely brilliant stuff, because
yeah.
that carries over to all sorts of other parts of your life as well.
Yeah, but I noticed that it takes a while before doing them because that thing happened like a week ago or something. And then I felt like I started like being grumpy about it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I looked at it, but it was not how to say fully gone like that.
Yeah.
When I have to do it on my own, it's difficult, more difficult than I do it with somebody. So yesterday I did a session with somebody, and then I could go really deep inside.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So it took a week.
Yeah, sure. But and the whole week it was processing at an unconscious level, very likely.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm now more into like I'm listening a lot to Pernill's explanation about the fetus.
Mhm.
I think it's really good. So she have like degrees in or subcategories or to work with it, and it's
Yeah,
really explaining a lot.
yeah. I
So
love
the
Penella. I think I like it, and I like the fact that she agrees. Her and I agree about the trauma based. Everything is trauma based
yes,
until we get beyond that. But at this stage, it's
yeah.
flat. Yeah, it's good.
Scott is saying the same thing. He's also busy like with but it's the same approach almost, except he doesn't look at with the eye. He did that before, but I think her explanation is more, yeah, I don't know,
It
profound or
resonates more
something.
with you, as it does with me. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's like you do something and don't know why am I doing this. I know what's going on, but with a little bit more explanation, it's more coming in with me or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. I mean, I also appreciate, say, Kevin and Angelo and Christiana's view, but it just seems
Yeah.
a little bit more mechanical to my way of thinking. Yeah,
Yeah, they are looking at like 4 and 5, and it's that 4 and 5 wanting or not wanting,
Mm.
and there is no subcategories like what Brunel is doing. So they in 35 there is lesson 1 and 2, and I don't know how
Yeah,
many.
yeah. Yeah, well, those three also see it as a very linear process, whereas Penilla and
Yes,
Bianca.
exactly. She
Yeah,
sees it
yeah.
more, yeah. How do you say circle?
Circular, a spiral.
Circular. Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
good stuff. Yeah.
Listening a lot there, and it's like everything has to do with yourself, with you, how you think about somebody else, and yeah, it's very good explanation. Yeah.
Yeah. And to take that to, well, not to an extreme, but to allow that to envelop everything, that this yourself that you talk about is the whole world.
Yes.
There is
Yeah.
nothing that is
Yeah.
not yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's strange that we are like. So there must be an. If I in my mind thinking like there is a sort of energy, and that energy makes you see the world in front of you, outside of you.
Mm.
It's really crazy. It's not,
Mm.
and sometimes I can see like I can see through my eyes. I don't know how to explain it. So if there was nobody seeing, but seeing happening, and it's like they are from glass, and I can see through my eyes at my surroundings. Do you know what I mean with
Yeah, yeah,
that?
yeah,
I used to do like Douglas Harding's practices, like the experiments, the no head
yeah.
thing.
Yes, with the headless.
And so then it came, and I could do that. And when I focus on it, it's like I just look through it like it's a sort of glass.
Mm.
Really strange.
It's not that strange because when you sleep, you have a very similar experience. You can see there is light, there is motion, there is depth, there is everything. Makes sense, you know?
You mean the dream then? The
Yeah.
dream?
When you go to sleep,
Yeah.
do you dream sometimes?
Not so very often that I know. I don't remember it.
But do you remember one time one of your dream?
Yeah,
So in your
vaguely.
dream,
Yeah.
there is there is images, there is perceptions, even if they have different rules, but there is something seeing, but your eyes are closed.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the
Yeah.
eyes don't see.
Yeah, exactly. And still there was seeing. Yeah, I know what you
Yeah,
mean. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
Who is seeing then? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Mm.
I think what is here, it's a miracle, like in the true sense, in the sense that no one knows how or why or what it is or how it happens. Who am I? What is the other? No idea about anything really. But
yeah.
here it is, you know. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
what I mean, this is to me, this is the definition of a miracle. I have no idea, but it's happening, and it's
Yeah.
beyond anything I can even start to comprehend. You know, so we put words, we build construction, mental construction about feathers, about work, about Buddhism, about this religion, and everything is great. But deeply, no one knows what's happening
Mm.
Yeah.
except that
So
it's here.
I'm always thinking about they are searching for aliens. And I think, but we are the aliens. Why search for somebody else on another planet? We are the aliens.
Yeah,
Because that's we cannot, like you say, we cannot comprehend it. It's like it's a total miracle. So what's
yeah,
happening? So we must be
yeah.
the aliens.
I have a thing where I imagine that aliens have already arrived, but they come in the form of a dog and a cat and a bird and an insect and all of these things. And how we relate to those aliens is very, very telling. And don't we all feel superior? Don't we all put down the intelligence of those things, right? When we can see a crow doing things that is impossible for humans to do with their intelligence, and yet they have a brain the size of a pea, and they can work out puzzles that are really difficult for people, but they can do it, like so.
And what is doing that?
A crow, a bird, like a
Okay, yeah.
But many birds. I mean, parrots teach their young. So they learn things and they teach others, and that gets passed on from generation to generation. So a lot of these things that we're just starting to appreciate that there's a whole lot of different kinds of intelligence and a whole lot of different kinds of workings. And if aliens turn up, what would make them different to that crow, to a dog, or to a dolphin or a whale? The physical form. That's just one thing, isn't it? Yeah. So how we treat these things might be how we want to treat aliens when they do turn up, if they turn up. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a mind
What
bogger.
Spyro says about it, aliens, what are they going to coming to do here on Earth? Is it like, oh, I want to be here, those humans are doing so well, I want to be here?
Yeah.
That was really great.
I like those comic strips where the aliens are sitting up there in a spaceship looking at Earth, and they're going, "Nah, we don't want to go there. Let's leave them alone.
Let's go.
Let's wait until they sort it out, or let's wait till they wipe themselves out. Maybe then we'll go there."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But as you say, when we look at ourselves, it could be very similar to the way we relate to aliens. We have so little knowledge about how that miracle that we are, that we need to relax about that and be curious. I saw a really good one. I think it was Neil deGrasse, whatever his name is, a scientist, and he said, the good thing about science is that we recognize that we don't know things. If you think you know everything, you'll never learn anything new.
Yeah.
You don't know,
Exactly.
you're open to learn, open to see.
Yeah.
How have you been, Lennart?
Actually quite fine. Actually, I stopped to watch Pernille's videos. I mean, I used to watch them every day before going to work or in the evening. But I have to say that at the moment, it's like, it's the first time in my life that I don't have this chatter all the time. I mean, I'm not saying that it's totally gone, but it's like in comparison to the rest of my life, it's like really wow. And I'm enjoying it a lot. Give much contentment. So I thought like, okay, give it a break, because actually, since I quit drinking alcohol, what I was doing was like circling around myself all the time, like thinking about my childhood, about my traumas, about all this stuff. And I mean, I'm not done with it, of course, but it's not even a decision. It's just like at some point I quit watching those videos, because I feel like, yeah, I can work with this for the rest of my life, but at the moment I just want to enjoy this calmness inside. And then also I think a side effect of this like giving self-care a break, I mean in the sense that I'm not like making a work out of it every day. I also turn to be, I'm more curious to know about other people. You know, for example, I'm getting to know all the grandmas in my house. And there are a lot of they are really like 90 years old. And now, for example, sometimes I go to the supermarket for them, and then we have some coffee and they tell me about the past in this house. And also because this part of Germany is the former socialist part. So it's a
Eastern Germany, yeah.
different experience, a different culture, different history.
Oh,
And it's
great.
like very interesting to hear all those stories, to also relate more to the city or the place. And then also last week I went to a farm to adopt another cat because now I'm more outside because it's spring. I also have to work. I meet more people, and my cat is like very, very focused on she should also have the opportunity to play with another cat and cuddle and things like that. So and then also last week I went to a dinner party and I got to know somebody there, and we are kind of getting to know each other. But it's really like yesterday we talked on the phone for 5 hours and we totally forgot about the time. But he's not living in the same city. It's like a car ride of 2 hours or something. So we're talking on the phone, and then it's a bit weird because I notice, or I can observe sometimes, that there are like some romantic fantasies coming up, but I can, it's a bit like watching a movie, you know, and then it's okay, a nice movie, but I can still like understand that okay, this is obviously a projection, and this is but then if I just come back to what is, the only thing I can say is that I'm really enjoying to be able to share things with someone, and it's like really a flow of having a conversation of 5 hours, laughing a lot, and being curious to understand like how is this person living and what is important for this person and so on. And I think then I was kind of sometimes maybe there is this idea about how it should be if I really have seen through self, because then I was kind of like, is it possible to, I wouldn't even label it as falling in love, but I mean, fancying someone. I mean, it's not really possible without projection, I think. I mean, somehow there's a reason why you want to get to know this person, because I don't know, you have some kind of image of this person. And then I was just wondering, like, how is that compatible with this non-dual experience? I don't know. Because
two things jumped up for me when you were talking. One that I really want you to notice and applaud, and that is that your seeking energy has relaxed. Okay, that is really significant to me. That's a big thing. So that tells me that something is going on that we would like to see. Yeah, sure. And now the other thing is that what we were talking about when we first started was about responding to things. Now, you're a human being, and if somebody holds you intimately, cuddles you, that's
Mhm.
going to feel good. Eh?
Mhm.
So we don't need a story of romance
Yeah.
to appreciate the value of being close to somebody, of having interaction, of having connection,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. Yeah, you might, if you were to produce a movie or write a book, you would call it romance and you would talk about it. But the difference is what you are experiencing it. So what you
Mhm.
experienced on the phone
Mhm.
was a connection.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's a response that I see as beautiful, legitimate and beautiful. We don't need to write stories about it and put romance over the top of it. I mean, it is romantic from that perspective, but the reality is that you were being more in touch with your body when you
Mhm.
happening. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think yeah, usually I tend to extremes. And then, for example, I think for a long time I had this idea about yeah, no self doesn't mean that I don't have any needs.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
then
Yes. Yeah.
there is like still, I don't know how to call it, maybe this body mind system that is in a way programmed, and that's also why it responds to this person and not to that person, or
Yeah,
what
exactly.
David was talking about, that I find this person beautiful and the other one ugly, for example. Although maybe this is also cultural, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
It's very complex, really. We have to simplify it to
yeah, but anyway, I understood like, okay, there is no control about this, and it I'm not interested in controlling it anyway. I
Mm,
mean,
mm. Yeah, there's a little subtlety there too, that there is no you controlling things,
mm,
right? But there is what could be described as control. Right?
mm,
Decisions arrive, intentions arise, and they
mhm,
shape what happens. But it's just not that it's just that there's no you doing it. The other
mm,
thing that came to mind as you were talking there just then was that it's not like we've got a self and then we've got no self, right?
mm,
There never was a self.
yeah,
We just had these romantic stories about a self and we responded to that story. And that's
mhm,
what really complicated issues. So what we're doing is we are clearing out a whole lot of complications when we recognize that things happen.
mhm.
Yeah. We're not distorting it anymore. We're not distorting what happens.
Yeah, I think the extreme idea that I had for a while was like, um, if I'm looking for a connection or a hug or something, that is like an ego issue or something like that, you know. And that's, I mean, I'm seeing now that this is it's total
Mm.
bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It could be described as an ego thing sometimes if the purpose of doing that, the purpose of getting that was to help you to avoid some discomfort.
Mm, yeah.
And
Mhm,
then we might say, yes, there's ego involved. It's, I
mhm,
dislike that word ego though. It complicates issues again. Yeah.
mhm,
But if it's a case of enjoying what comes, and we anticipate things too. So if you're with say if you're with a lover, right? Even before you've had a hug, even before you've hugged and got close, before you've kissed or whatever might happen, you anticipate it, and then you
mm,
into the anticipation. Right?
mhm,
If you recognize that that's what's happened, that's fine. That's great. if you don't recognize it and then it doesn't happen, you can feel very,
Yeah.
very disappointed.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I recognize it, but it's not so much, I don't know, it doesn't, it's not so much a fantasy. It really, it's physical. I don't
Mm,
know.
mm. Yeah. No, it sounds
Yeah.
like you're in a good place. Yeah.
Then also, my boss was absent for a while, and then we had a talk, and she told me that like her son, who he's like 3 years old, has like a very rare disease, and he is in the risk of having a stroke. And then she told me that it's like super difficult for her to combine the job and yeah, being with her child. And then since she told me that, not every time, but yeah, yeah, I told her once, yeah, like I really feel with you. I don't really know what to say, but and then we hugged, and now like once a week or something when we meet, we give each other a hug. And I mean, I never had a boss with whom I had hugs, and it's not like this corporate identity thing,
Yeah.
you know. It's like I really like her and she likes me, and that makes working also much more pleasant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you're not relating to a role. You're not in a role and you haven't got her in a role.
Mm.
You're people.
No, actually, like there's a, yeah, I mean, I'm working there for 8 months now, and there were several moments when I said, no, I'm not going to do an extra qualification. No, I don't want to work more. Yeah. And now I'm working less. And it was always a bit like, I think it was a bit like testing out boundaries, like
Oh,
how
yeah.
many times can I say, no, I'm not going to do this? But in the end, yeah, it seems to be okay. And I really understood that my boss is on my side. I can tell her, you see, it's, I don't feel well working that much, and she understands.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not like I have to feel like I'm, yeah, sometimes bosses can give you the feeling that
Sure.
you are lazy or something like that.
Yes. If they
But
can control you, that's what they'll do. Mm.
mm,
Sounds good. Yeah. So you're having a much more intimate relationship with everybody around you, with the old ladies, the grandmas, with your
mm,
boss, with the person on the phone. Beautiful.
yeah, and it's really a release, because I mean, I think I told you before that it was nearly 3 years that I was like totally in my cocoon and
Mm.
not meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
And yeah, actually, I think I was so bothered with my issues issues that I always thought, like, whenever people would get into contact with me, then I always thought, like, yeah, but please don't think that you are always available for me or something. I would, yeah, I thought, like, it felt like I don't have the energy to deliver you
Yes.
this,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. So, and now it's like, it's not like that. I feel rather like there's a lot of energy, I don't know, a lot of things to be shared with other people, and I'm enjoying that. And I'm also curious, more curious to know how other people feel, and
Yeah.
yeah, what they have to tell and what they want to share, and so.
Yeah. Excellent. Good stuff. Yeah.
Mm,
One thing that you mentioned that I feel is worth pointing out is this idea of you wondering what it's like when there is no self there, what would romance be like, or what would other things in life be like when there is no self? And I want to tell you, you do know that already, what that's like. Yeah. So once people wake up, they realize that there's no such thing as waking up. And it's just a different perspective. And as a result of that, there are different responses going on. Yeah. So there's not anything for you to attain. There is just deepening. There's just discovering more about yourself. And because you're in this nice, relaxed place and you're open to discovery, you're curious, those things will show themselves.
Yeah, for example, when I was still practicing with the Zen people in Buenos Aires, although maybe I also misunderstood what they were trying to convey, but yeah, there was like this mindfulness thing, and maybe I misinterpreted it, but I thought like I have to be concentrated all day long, you know, and then
Yeah.
asked me a lot, and I understood like, no, I can't. It's like too much for me, and
Yes, of course.
yeah,
It's too much for
but
anybody.
actually
How can you
the
be
task,
constantly
the
aware?
task the task I was given was, for example, that I have to journal every single step that I do every day before going to bed. And that's like the idea of being mindful. And then I thought like, that's horrible. I don't want to I don't want to log in every single
Yeah,
fart that
a
I
lot of
do.
work. Yeah.
Keeps you
And
busy
then,
all day.
yeah, and then now I would I would rather think like that's a diversion. I mean, that's like diverting. And how can you experience everything when you always have to remember, I need to write that down in my journal. I don't know.
Really?
So yeah, sometimes I still yeah, maybe in the last month, sometimes there was still a bit of this fear that I could fall back into a depression or negative thought patterns. But then sometimes maybe when it was about to come back, I could still observe it, and maybe I had some rather bumpy days, but I would not be drawn into it completely. And then I understood by now there is like this perspective that I can observe it. It's not, it doesn't require a lot of concentration. It's just there.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
and yeah, it doesn't
So,
mean that I always have to be like,
yeah, hypervigilant. Yes. So when you can you, it might be difficult because our memory is funny, but can you appreciate that when you got into a depression, that was an attempt to I was going to say avoid. Yeah, I mean, it's an attempt to avoid something that you consider a lot worse. So a depression is like a solution. And certainly Miller would say that it was a solution. And it was a solution to avoid something that you felt would be pretty catastrophic. So a depression is kind of a low level, low energy kind of thing that happened, right? Now, you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, I remember when I was 17, I had like the first, I mean, I would maybe, I don't know, I don't have to compare it to other people, but I would not say that it was like a very, very severe depression, maybe just like a depressed week or something like that. So, but it would still be like, it felt like, I mean, it came back once in a while. And then this always felt like, yeah, that's like coming home.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it really felt like, if I'm honest, everything is horrible.
Sure.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
And I will always fall back into the state, and that will feel like coming home, although it's horrible, you know?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Some comfort in the familiarity of it too.
yeah, somehow it was comfortable because then you don't have to do anything, because anyway, everything's horrible. I mean, that's how I see it now. It's not like I don't want to blame myself for that, but yeah, but by now the coming home feeling is something else. It's like this, yeah, it's that, okay, like this.
Yep. Yeah. This is home. This
Mm,
openness. Yes. Beautiful. Yeah.
and yeah, I experienced this when I came back from Indonesia to this city here, that somehow every time you come back, you feel more at home. Like the coming home feeling is like quite strengthening, like this feeling of
Yes.
being home,
Yeah.
being at home. Yeah. So that makes me understand that it's also necessary to not always be in this, to not always be at home, because the coming home makes you aware that you are at home.
Yep. 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 Yeah. We go to Bali, or we go to Indonesia, we go to places as an adventure. And it's part of it is the excitement of that adventure. So when we're not home, you know, that can be there too. Yeah. But it's always good, no matter where I go. If I go the last little bit of it, I just want to be home. Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought, like, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's okay to be deluded once in a while, and then to come home from that to
Sure. Yeah.
recognizing.
So you're not even thinking of home yet, David. You've still got a long way on your trip, eh? So is home for you Switzerland?
Well, but I am my papers are in Switzerland, but I have no physical home anywhere, so I have no home to get to.
Yeah.
It's a different experience.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting also.
Yeah, it would be. So do you have fantasies about settling somewhere and staying somewhere?
So much fantasy. I dream about having my home and no one, and just never move again. But life is just like, before this trip, I moved 2 times, and the 2 times we rent an apartment, and I said, okay, now I'm not moving anymore. So I rent an apartment, I buy all the furniture, I build everything, the lamp, and I do everything. And once we are very well settled, it's like, no, we have to leave, we have to leave. So I lose almost all of my money, and I move somewhere else. I do it again, lose a lot of money for many reasons, because all of no the mess of moving. Oh, so now I have no home, and yeah, we want to settle because like kids, because different reason, because it's very tiring to travel that much. But we don't find a place. So I feel homeless.
Mm.
I am homeless by definition, let's say, but I'm not living the street. But I don't have a home, and we don't even know where, in which country we are going to stay, and we don't find a place. So I really live in between, you know. I always feel in between, you know, like I have no idea what will happen. So yeah.
Where do you live right now?
No, I'm traveling in Southeast Asia with my family.
Oh, okay.
I'm traveling around.
Wow.
He's in Bali at the moment.
Yeah,
Ah,
in
Bali.
Thailand. Yeah, we're in Thailand for 3 months. After we went to Malaysia, 4 months, Vietnam. Now we're in Bali.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean, I start to accept that human experience is challenging, and this idea that something or someone or some technique or so or some god will free me from my human experience and difficult and impossible choice that I have to make, and the pain and the suffering, and I don't know what to do with this pain. I don't know what to do with this family. I don't know what to do with this, with money, with global warming, war. I have no idea. You know, like now there's really this feeling like, okay, I feel in my life it's messy and I have no idea where it is going, but somehow it's fine. You know, somehow where I can find some peace is when I go into sensations or in my direct experience, because even if it's not agreeable, like I can have very strong emotion coming on, but I feel that this is always there, you know, like there is no escape to 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 sensation, to thinking, and to perceiving. So I will never have more or less than that. So somehow, even if it's very challenging, it feels somehow peaceful, because it's okay, you know. I don't have to handle much or more than what's happening right here, even if it's difficult. So it's fine. But it's a really, it's like, you know, the pin of the needle, you know, it's like it's a really, really, actually I feel it's not always obvious. Most of the time it's I feel I have to be very sensitive to to feel to feel that. Yeah. That's why maybe I'm not in the digging process, because my everyday life is already challenging constantly. So I don't have rest, you know, like, oh, now I will dig into something, you know. I'm like, no, you know, when I have time, I just want to sleep or rest or
Yeah.
do Zoom meetings, because that I enjoy a lot.
And of course, being with your family, you have to take into account how they feel about things as well. And that can be sometimes be tricky.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, with
You
the
want them to be
children,
happy, don't you?
yeah. I mean, I want everyone to be happy, but I'm very clear that I have no idea how to make people happy. So I wish the best for everyone, but you know, good luck for you, you know, because
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what, you know, what will work for you. But for my kids, I feel different, because I am his reference in life. I have a role in his specific role in his life, and kids don't have boundaries for emotion. So now he's almost 3, and he started to have this big emotion to come up, and he's like, and I can see that his system doesn't know how to process emotion stuff. So when he's frustration, he gets angry and start to break stuff. So it's a whole process to make him learn how to process emotion, and he learned by watching me, and I'm not always very good at that. So you know, so it's a process, because yeah, I have to be, and I have to do what I want him to learn, because
Yeah.
this is how we learn.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's very challenging, and now that he's growing, we have 3 people that have different needs and desire. So where are we going? You know, what you know, so it's, yeah, it's family, it's great. In many ways. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
So what's missing for you, Lydia?
Missing. What's missing for me? This moment, nothing. When I start thinking a lot, because I want to travel more, I want more money. No, but like nothing.
So if I say it seems like you're in a good place, does that sound accurate to you?
Yes, yeah, for this moment, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So are there other moments
Then this moment, I don't know what's going to happen, of course, in the normal thing. So I don't know how that moment is going to be. But yeah, there is only this moment. So
Yeah. Okay.
this moment is okay.
So have you had any moments in the last 24 hours where things were not okay?
No,
In the last 2 days?
no.
No.
Except for some boredness once in a while.
Boredness, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that I can stay at home like in the morning, but in the afternoon and the evening also. I don't have problem with that, but in the afternoon I get like bored and I want to go out. And just I don't talk with people. It's just like going out and making a walk, going with my car or going to drink a coffee somewhere.
Yeah. So when that impulse turns up to go out, would you see that as an opportunity to look at what you're avoiding by going out?
Yes, I want every day I'm thinking now I'm going to sit and I'm going to do that. And every day I'm already gone. Before I can take it, it's this one and it's the one with food. I cannot grasp it to do it. It's already done before I can do it. I wonder why is that. I can do all the other things, but those two, it's like, yeah, really, really difficult to
What are
get
the
them.
two that I didn't get? What are the two that is difficult?
In the afternoon, going out when I'm getting bored or restless or something, and food.
Food.
Food, yeah. Yeah, I'm already eating before I or take something or snack or whatever, and I want to like I'm getting a little sick. I don't want that. So it's really, really difficult to catch it in the moment
Yeah.
because there's always a voice wanting to have nice things like going out, drinking a coffee somewhere or food. It's like, why shouldn't I? It's always like,
Yeah. So your net, what I would expect is that your response to that would be to try and do it differently, or wish that it was different, right?
yes,
So in the
yeah,
case of food, when you find that you're already eating, even if the awareness that you're eating comes up after you've had one mouthful, you keep
mhm.
eating though, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, I cannot stop that.
Right,
It's like
right.
I cannot
Okay,
stop that.
so what I'm saying is trying to stop it is not going to reveal anything to you, because that becomes the focus, trying to stop it.
Yeah.
Right? That's resistance. That makes it stronger, if anything. So
Mm-hmm.
so accepting that that's what's going on. Now, this is tricky. I don't mean submitting or resigning yourself to it, but accepting that that is what is happening with good spirit. Just not being upset or angry, but being contented with the noticing, so that if your focus is on the noticing that you're eating, what we want to reveal itself is that little voice that comes up that says, this is what you're doing. You're eating in order to keep away from something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? The same with the boredom, and they may even be the same thing. Your boredom is a really interesting one, in that it seems like it's a very low energy thing, but it's actually very active. And once again, it compels you to act. Boredom compels you to do something, and that doing
Mm-hmm.
something is a way of avoiding something else.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I can do it when I think about boredom or food. I can stay with it. It comes up and I can stay with it, but not in the moment, you know? I
Yes,
cannot grasp it in the moment itself.
yes. So my suggestion is that
Yeah.
the first step is to learn to be okay with that when it happens.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And then the second step is you just wait and watch for
Okay.
what it wants to tell you. It's trying to tell you something.
Yeah, yeah.
I suspect that maybe there's another little voice there.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I forgot to tell that when that happened, the blaming thing happened, I could see that it was something that wanted to protect me. It was
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, yeah. Always all the voices happening to protect me from something.
Mm, yeah. And the only
Yeah.
way to, well, not the only way to, but the way to discover what that is to be okay with it.
Ah, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, I'm going to try that. Thank you. I'm
Um,
always fighting it. No, I shouldn't eat that much. No, I have to stay home. And yeah,
Yeah.
you wanted
uh,
to say something?
yeah, boredom is something that also happens to me. So yeah, and it's it's getting better, but it's still hard to accept. But at some point, then I thought like, okay, maybe it can help to read something about boredom. And then I noticed that there is, I looked it up, it's called, I find it's funny, International Society of Boredom Studies. So there is like one book that I read, which was quite interesting. It was like a cultural history of boredom, and it was about painting depict bored people and stuff like that. I can send you the link maybe. And then also like the psychological side of it, that and that was something that I still try to remember when I feel bored, that boredom is actually something healthy, because yeah, it means that maybe before you overstimulated yourself, so it's kind of a way to pause the stimulation. So that's also something, yeah, I mean, for me it's maybe easier to accept when I think like, this is kind of yeah, how do you call that, for example, when the computer gets too hot and then it
Yes,
shuts down.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The thing is,
Yeah,
has to cool down or something.
yeah,
Yeah, I noticed what I do in when I don't have to work, you know, it's like I'm reading a lot, listening a lot to YouTube movies from Brindle and things like that. And then in the afternoon, it's enough. It's enough. I want to go away. I want to go it because it's too much. Maybe that's yeah. Maybe that's a good
Mm.
because I want to go out for a while, stopping what I'm doing. Or
So maybe those things that you're doing are also a bit compulsive. And going out is a way of breaking that.
breaking that.
Mm. I mean, I don't know. I just wonder if those things you're doing. See, we keep ourselves busy as an
Yeah.
avoidance again.
Dag jongen, tot straks. My grandson's going to school, so. Say it again. Now I lost it.
Yes, that all of those things that you're doing all the time, keeping yourself busy. Does it sound right to say that you'll keep yourself busy doing those things, and then in the afternoon you need a break from them because it can be a bit exhausting, eh? Because there's a bit of a compulsion there with doing all of those things.
Yeah, it's like, let's say that I'm totally awake. What am I going to do? It's like there was nothing to do. So sitting here all day doing nothing, it's
No.
like that's
Believe me, that won't happen.
happen. You know?
But
But that's a fear there. Like,
yes, I get that. Yeah. You know, it's not possible to do nothing. It's an impossibility. How can you do nothing? But if you sit still and well, that's happening.
mhm.
If you're not busy with things where your focus is outward, then your focus becomes inward. And it's very busy in there
Yeah.
inside. Yeah.
But it's like I think I'm now on pension, you know, and it's like things falling away, friends are falling away, they die or
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
not. And it gets lonely. It gets lonely. I don't have a relationship except my son is living here, my grandson. So and he's every other week he's here, my grandson, and the other days when he's not here, my son is working all the time, then I don't see him. So it gets really, really lonely. And I like loneliness, but not too long.
Mm. Yes, there's a difference between loneliness and being alone.
Yeah, yeah.
So being alone is obviously a description of not having other people around you.
Yeah,
Loneliness is a statement about your connection.
yeah.
Yeah. And it also implies a desire for connection.
I desire connection, and in one way, and the other way it's not. No, stay there.
Mm.
I don't want to do too much in having a relationship. It's too much for me. It's like then I have to do something for somebody with his bullshit and every no. I don't want that. So it's a mixed thing.
Mm. Mm.
Wanting it, not wanting it. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
And you can have both of those at the same time. They're not exclusive.
okay.
Yeah.
But there was nobody around me. Aren't many people around me nowadays. I used to have a lot of people around me, but it's not the case anymore
Mm.
because they fell away one by one. And
Yeah. There's an old thing out there I read about years and years ago, and some kind of study that it was done, and what it showed was that people who volunteer live longer. It was really interesting. People who are out there volunteering in whatever capacity that they feel good in, they tend to live longer. They have a much more fulfilling life. Now you're already volunteering with your grandson and your son, but it leaves a lot of space still, doesn't it?
yeah. And I noticed also, let's say when I worked, and there was some gathering or whatever, there could be a lot of people. And what happens is I'm in the middle of some and I'm alone because
Yes.
everybody is leaving or getting a drink. They come back. But in one moment, I'm sitting on a table with 13 people, 14, 20, whatever. I'm sitting alone.
Mm.
I'm always like,
No connection.
yes, yeah.
Mm.
And then I noticed then it's like, oh, I'm alone again. Okay. And there is no need to connect. I'm feeling the loneliness, but there is no need to connect.
Mm.
It's, yeah, strange. In a way, there is no need to connect. And in the other way, I want to connect. And it's like,
Mm.
I don't do it. It's like what to tell to people, what to say, what to talk about. And when I talk about these things, it's too much for people. So when
Yeah.
you are, or it's about nothing, normal things, the weather, and I don't want to do that.
No, I find that boring too.
Uh,
I generally ask people about themselves. I find everybody quite fascinating, where they come from,
uh,
what's
okay.
excited about. Yeah. So if you just ask somebody, what is it in life that you get excited about? That's always an interesting one.
Yeah. Okay, so then, yeah. But I don't see myself doing it. IKEA is like 2 kilometers away from here. So in the afternoon, sometimes I go there, drink a coffee, but I don't make contact with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
When I travel, I sometimes go a week away. The other years, like a week in a year, I'm going to Turkey or whatever. I don't have contact with people. It's not that I'm shy. It's not that I'm not really social, but I don't do that.
Mm, mm, yeah.
Yeah, strange. Then I think I'm strange.
I agree with Lennart about the sensitivity. I mean, that's what I understood. Like with boredom and loneliness, that are very strong in human experience. But I think it's about sensitivity also. Like if you have eaten everything with Tabasco all your life, and suddenly you start to drink water and steam rice, it will have no taste. You'll be like, this is like not eating nothing, it's like air. You know, my mouth doesn't. I don't get it. You know, I don't understand where is the magic in this. You know, but I think what is valuable in this process can be it is listening what is here right now, because the more you listen what is here, the more you can be sensitive to what is present.
Yeah.
And like say Vince, here it's very busy, you know, like sensing it's a universe, you know, like sensing anything, it's really like it's really huge. Any sensation, it's a rabbit hole to infinity. And it's the same for perception, and even the same with thought, but the thought is a bit tricky. But everything, it's really deep and kind of infinite, literally. So yeah, because of the way we are raised and habits, and even now, even more now with screens and drugs and all of this, it can be maybe difficult. But to get used to just feel your experience as it is in the moment. Like loneliness has a taste. Loneliness, it has a thought patterns, and it has a sensing patterns and a visual pattern, because you don't see anyone around you, perceive them out there. You think about there are other people out there having fun, and I'm kind of here sitting alone, or I'm in my house, people are out there. And there is a sensing tone. So everything appear kind of in different texture. And I think a big part of the process of realization, it's become more and more sensitive and tuned with those different patterns, and learn to enjoy them as they are, not as you want them to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just turned and now I'm in the dark.
Yeah,
But
that's okay. I
it's
like
better
it.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one, isn't it? Boredom can be very interesting if you look at it. Look at what's going on for you, what you're feeling when you're bored. It can be very busy.
Yeah.
For example, I experience a lot of boredom, you know, and I have this addiction with screen. I say addiction because when I feel some emotion, most of the time I take my phone, you know, or sometimes I'm in my apartment and there is my child screaming and I cannot go out for some reason, and I'm just there, you know. So I try to hold that as I can at some point. Okay, well, I have I want to entertain myself, and that's fine. To me, the behavior is not the problem. The way you cope with an emotion is not the problem. I mean, to me, it's really this seeing that you share, Lydia, at the beginning, you know, like see what's happening, you know, see the emotion, see the boredom, see the the human reaction to it, you know, see how you just watch, you know, like see, but very sensitively, be attuned, you know, like what's happening. And I really feel that just this seeing, this listening, this feeling what's happening, it's really it's changed things, but not in the way that light and realization of self and no, it's just it changed, but it can be very subtle. It can be very like you can even not notice at the beginning that you are getting like really tuned to another level of sensitivity. And because it is endless, like if you Tabasco and you stop Tabasco at some point, maybe like a burger with salt and ketchup and mayonnaise will have some taste. You know, yeah, that's very good. Or sometimes, but rice still not have taste. But maybe when you still eat rice for a year and you taste water, water will have a taste. And if you don't eat anything for months, maybe even air, you know, you open the mouth and maybe you can even feel that there is things in the air, you know, not nothing. So it's infinite.
Yeah. I notice when I'm with you guys and being here brings me more in the body than when I go out, and then I'm still more in the head and then thinking about stuff. And when that happens, I can feel more sensation. Yeah. Yeah. Good.
To me,
Yeah.
it's I feel the same. Those meetings, something happened. I cannot describe why,
Yeah, I
but
can feel it. Yeah.
I feel something in it and I enjoy it. And that's why I come back because something is happening and I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't need to really put words, you know, it's just like something's happening, it's fine. Yeah.
Mhm.
I can say something from my experience, because I also have this, but I like loneliness, and but also I need this human contact. So it's so-called hedgehog dilemma. The hedgehog wants to be close to other hedgehogs, but the spines get in the way.
What's hedgehog? I don't understand that word.
Hedgehog.
What's that?
You speak
What
French,
is,
Lydia? You,
A little bit, just a little bit.
hérisson,
what is your
hérisson, hérisson.
Comment?
You know the word hérisson?
No.
No, okay.
what
Never mind.
what is your first language?
Dutch.
Oh, this
No.
one I don't know.
It's
Oh,
it's a small animal that is covered in long spines, very sharp spines, and it uses those spines to protect it. So when it gets threatened, it rolls up in a ball, and all of the spines.
the one with the pickles.
Yes,
Yeah. Ah, okay. Okay. I didn't know that word. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Stekelvarken? Stekelvarken?
Eagle. We call it
Ah,
eagle.
because I think it's Schopenhauer, but in German it's Stachelschwein. So I looked it up, and it's in Dutch it's Stekelvarken.
Stekelvarkje. Ah, yeah.
I'm not pronouncing it correctly.
Ja, stekelvarkje. It's yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, so they want to be close, but not too close. When I started working from home, then like for 2 years, I wasn't seeing anyone, and it was fine. And after 2 years, I've noticed it doesn't feel good anymore. And this was because this was the reason I found Buddhist Sangha. I just went to the nearest one. And it was because there is meditation. So I am with other people, but we don't need to talk. We don't need to look at each other. Very, very safe. But the body can feel that it's with other people. It's, and then there was a lecture, and you can ask a question, or you don't have to. You can go out, no commitments, and so I think if loneliness is too much, I will find the way.
So did you find when you interacted with those other people that your spines stuck out?
They found out.
They yes. Yeah.
Yes, it's the defense is just.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it turned out okay. And also that just by staying with this group and going there systematically, it was enough to get accepted in a group.
Yeah. Yeah. So they weren't as sensitive to your spines anymore.
Some even liked it.
Yeah, I get that. Mhm.
And when I'm alone and I have nothing to do, I get the feeling of emptiness, but not in the Buddhist and mystical sense. Just that my life is empty. I'm empty.
So would you call that emptiness a sense of lack, of something missing, that kind of emptiness?
No, I'm not sure. It's just a strange place, but it's not so displeasant as it may sound. I think it may be displeasant at first because it is strange. You know, I have this visual imagination. So for me, it's like being on a big step, you know, And under the big sky. And the sky is so big, 10 times bigger than normal. No one there, only me. This kind of emptiness.
Mm. So yeah, your connection with that is, so that's not loneliness though. Is that right? Is it loneliness? Or is there a joining of you and the sky, even though you're the only one there? How does it feel? What is the feeling of it? Is it, it's not displeasure. It's not, what is it?
It's truth.
Truth.
Yes, it's the feeling that
Mm.
yeah, it's like that all the surface things gone. This is how it looks like. It's
Yeah.
maybe it's the feeling of clarity.
Mm.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a little bit like the Buddhist emptiness.
Or maybe I'm just writing a nice story to
no.
my feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. It does sound rather nice. Mm. And safe. It feels safe.
Mm. I would say neutral.
Okay.
I mean, it's safe in the sense that there is no danger,
Yeah, yes.
but not a place I would call home.
Okay.
Mm.
Mm.
And what is the sensation that when you have, if you look at this image, what how your body responds? I can't hear you. No, you are
You're
muted,
muted.
Bianka.
Sorry. One thing I can sense is in my throat. Like something moving here.
And if you take one person and you look at a person which the one that you feel more, you like the most and you feel more comfortable with. If you look at, if for example, if I look at Vince right now, and I can feel how my body reacts to it. Can you try? Are you willing to try? You look at someone in the screen
Mm-hmm.
that is positive, that is safe, and you see
Mm-hmm.
how your body reacts.
I smile. And there is mellowness.
There is what's happening? I didn't hear very well.
Mellowness.
What is melancholy?
Mellowness, feeling mellow.
Mellowness.
Yes.
Okay. I just point that but I was curious, because dissociation is when we feel safe, but we feel disconnected from others. So often, and it's a space that I know a lot, and it's a process to learn to be with someone and be okay with it, and it can trigger different parts, different sensation in our body. And I think in us there is often those two parts, right? There is this part who want to be alone and safe, and there is this part who want to be in contact. And I think everyone will want to be in contact with other people. It's just that it's maybe very hard to find groups that are welcoming enough for us. And I think those group here is one of them, that it's all welcoming. You can be as you are. So yeah, I don't know. I have no I have no intention with this. I was just curious to see the difference, because there is something happening with the eyes, with looking at someone and being in relationship with someone. And there is wounds, the child, often the baby wound that we have, the child trauma and baby trauma can be healed almost only in relationship with someone else, because it's a relationship trauma. So yeah, that's I feel that I'm just I go nowhere, but yeah, I think it's interesting maybe. Like right now, for example, I'm in a group right now and I feel stupid. I feel there is a belief and of stupidity, and there is a sensation, with it. The thought I spoke and there was no conclusion. I don't know. Something happened. And now I'm taking a deep breath and I'm like, yeah, okay. I feel safe with you to do something that my mind judge is stupid, or without conclusion. And I think this is it's nice to feel this with a group, and to be able to share and to feel safe enough to be vulnerable.
Do you feel that, Bianca? Do you feel safe and vulnerable? Or are those spines there all the time?
I'm sorry, I have to leave. See
Okay.
you next
Bye.
time.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Mm. Well, I think I don't control the spines, and they can show up
Mm.
any moment.
Yeah, they would show up though if you suddenly felt unsafe or defensive, then they would show up. But right now, are they there? They don't appear to me to be there, but I'm asking you, I don't know.
I don't know if I could be completely vulnerable.
Partially?
Hmm?
And you said completely vulnerable. What about partially? A little bit. Is it possible? Is vulnerability either there or not? Maybe there's nothing between there and not there, maybe, or maybe there is, I don't know.
Well, I can be very open, and but it's also with this defense of I'm shameless. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, that's interesting, that one. Yes, you've mentioned that. And so I I applaud that. I see it perhaps differently to the way you mean it, but I applaud that shameless thing. I think the shame is at the root of so much of our suffering, so much of our problems that sit on shame. And to be shameless is just brilliant if we can be shameless. But I suspect that you mean something that a little bit more than that when you say shameless, that you mean that maybe you mean that permits you to be aggressive or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm just wondering, yeah.
It reminds me to when I was still taking a lot of drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. I think I knew that it was problematic, but I didn't want to be judged by anybody. So I used to be like very sarcastic or maybe ironic, I don't know, and tell people, yeah, I'm a hopeless drug addict or something like that. And then people are not able to criticize you anymore, because then you already put like the worst label onto yourself, and the other person can't say anything anymore. So I also know this kind of openness, like total, to expose like your interior world to everybody, like supposedly, but that's actually a defense mechanism too, like yeah, or it can be.
Yes, well, I listened to a woman giving a lecture about it, and she said she was studying shame, and she said, me, shame, nothing to do with it. I'm, you know, when I go ski, I will make sure that I will fall in front of everyone seeing me, and I will laugh at it. And but the shame is still there. And all of this making a mistake, it's like well, yes, so it depends. It's just to not feel the pain of the shame.
Mm.
It's to talk myself into, I'm doing all this shameful thing and I don't care a bit, ha 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 ha.
Mm.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. At least in my case, it was like I won't have anybody else telling me what is my problem. Then I'd rather say it myself.
I mean, to me, the way, I mean, in the Christians, there is the confessional, right? There is this process of you go somewhere and you speak out your your sin, you know. I know it's good, but to me, there is a deep um, a deep truth in it. Not in the way that most people understand confession, but there is a healing in expressing what's happening for you and to feel heard, to feel that the other understand you. There is a healing in this process, as because the mind works kind of that way. So to me, it is true that often, but this is more in therapy figuration, that you speak what's happening for you and you feel heard and there is a back and forth and this whole process. But I never thought about shame, really. When you say shame, nothing is here. I mean, I don't, I know it happened maybe, but I don't really connect. And also, in my child, there is no shame in him. He do many strange things that I feel strange, but there is no shame. I don't feel that he has shame. So and he's 3 years, so maybe it will come at 4, 5, 6. I know that I heard some people say that they remember the day that they start to feel shame, that we're naked, and sometimes they say, "Oh, I'm naked," and that's bad. I shouldn't be that way. I shouldn't be naked in front of. So I don't know this process of shame, but it's interesting.
Yeah, shame, of course, so, as you say, it's absent in an infant until they learn it, and they learn it by being told how wrong things are. It's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, and then they learn when they do something wrong, and then there's a certain feeling that we call shame that comes with it, and that I guess carries stories about, well, I shouldn't do that, I shouldn't be that way. Yeah, but I'm intrigued, Bianca. Your sense of shame now. Is it your shameless rather? Your sense of not feeling shame. Are you saying that there is shame there, but you don't express it, or you don't give into it, or something like that, or there is just no sense of shame? You don't ever feel. So when you yeah, go on.
But by becoming shameless, I unapologetic,
Yes.
it's because I don't want to feel the shame, the painfulness
Right.
of the
Right.
shame.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So it's true that confession, not in church, but confession can be healing. But first of all, there has to be willingness to feel, to hear the shame myself.
Mm, mm, mm.
Mm.
So
Yeah, there was a lot of shame when I was a teenager. Mortifying shame,
mm,
and I put a blockade. I don't think about these years. I don't go there.
mm.
Yeah.
So that in that case, that shame was an expression of being broken. Yeah.
But then I think I don't know if you would agree, but doesn't shame always yeah, isn't it based on the fear of being expelled from the group because of your behavior that doesn't meet certain, I don't know, conventions? For example, yeah, people in one culture would be shameful about something that in a different culture people are not, you know?
Uh, it's how I was working in therapies and how I see myself as a system of few different characters who may have very different values. And when everything is okay, they work together, they talk to each other. And I think like this shame is connected with fear of being exiled from this group of characters,
Mm.
like being exiled from myself.
But would you say that the characters or one of them represents the others, or what you have learned from the others, maybe?
All of them. Of course.
So if I get it right, you're going like this to those who would pronounce judgment on you. You're telling them to go fuck themselves. And that's a taking a stand. That's you saying, however I am is the way I am, and I'm not going to apologize for that. I love that. I think that's brilliant. But it does say that there is a recognition of something, certainly something different, and maybe something not good in there as well. Would that be accurate?
And it's just a feeling that something was not processed, just
Yeah,
shoved under the carpet,
yeah, yeah,
locked into in the basement. And
yeah. I like that. That's a descriptive thing. There's no morality in that. That you're describing something and you're not saying it's wrong. You're saying that's just the way it is. I love it. I love that. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not that I shouldn't have done it. At that time, it was the only way. How could I could function
Yeah.
and to go on. That's, but I would like to go back to this basement, meet the monster.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
The thing that the monster, it's a baby. That's the thing.
No, it's teenager. With
Yeah.
baby, it's I have contact with baby.
the teenager's a bit scary though, isn't it? Angry teenager.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to me, as a father, when my child do something that the rules that we have built with my partner, we build some rules and he knows them in a way, or he's learning them, and there is a social rule and everything. But when he does something that I consider wrong, it's very difficult to approach him without with the sensitivity of, oh, he need to learn, he haven't got it, you know. It's not, sometimes it's very difficult to approach him with sensitivity and heart open, and okay, that just piss me off because I will pass half an hour to clean everything and have no time, and this, okay, so this is my story, he need to learn and everything, it's okay, and nothing has happened, okay. So, you know, as a parent, it's like, it's not easy to do it. And I want to name it because we speak often about childhood and trauma and shame, but it's important to remember that my parent and all of your parents did their best, even if the best was very poor from your judgment. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that's really what they could do at the moment, you know. And and yeah,
Yeah, they did their best. That's true, but they didn't do a very good job of it because they resorted to force. They resorted to shame as a way to control frequently. Right. So that although that was still their best, it was pretty shitty. And so consequently that child learns a whole lot of wrong things.
yeah. But often, not always, but the parents do a better job with his kids than their parents.
Oh yes, yeah,
So
true,
so
true.
so
Yeah.
so take how your parents raised you and imagine worse to them.
Yes, yeah.
So it's, even if it doesn't seem like, but it's an improvement, even if I agree that it can be absolutely awful.
Mm.
But I just want to put into perspective that it's a a a a whole encompassing perspective.
Yeah.
But it's not easy to take what we are speaking about and take it in real life, you know, like when you are in front of your parent or in front of your child or in front of the mirror, and to really apply this, you know.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
But I think this is really the work, you know. There is theory, and after there is the concrete application, and often it's very different.
Yep. And now from where we are now, when we see that what we learned as an infant to reparent that is kind of easy compared to reparenting a teenager who doesn't want to listen.
Yeah, yeah, but I think the for any of for the real pattern, it's there is a part which is thinking and conceptual, and it's fine. But the biggest part is feeling.
Is what?
It's feeling it, you know. Like Bianca say, we have to find a way to go back in the basement and to feel that, to feel those sensations.
Mm, mm.
And it's but it's very hard because all of our life it's weird to not to just don't do this, you know. Everything is weird
Keep away.
for you to avoid this, and society now it's building amazing tool for you to avoid it. Just amazing, you know. Like they are really they are psychologists who have PhD
This is
who
one.
dedicate their life, their entire life to make you don't do this, you know.
Yeah.
And technology is melting with them, and it's just so yeah. Now it's kind of swimming against the river, but that's the only way. So at some point, even if it's hard, there is no other way, you know.
Mm. Yeah.
But it's really feeling it and feeling and
Even without technology, I could always find the way. I was reading whole day long.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
Walking to school with
Yeah,
book,
Me
back
too.
to home with book.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I read one book every day. I read 7 books a week for most of my teenage.
Yeah, but
yeah.
imagine that you live a time without television on just 10 and something like this. Now I'm saying babies who are 3 months old and are already with a screen. They
Yeah.
are eating with a screen. So imagine how their brain will be tuned and how almost impossible it will be to not be distracted. It will be like, I mean, if even before thought began, you are already tuning your brain to avoidance and screen and sound and images and stupidity. I mean,
And shaping
it's
the thinking, shaping it. Yeah.
yeah, and shaping it. So it's, I mean, I don't know now if I'm not talking about humanity therapy or or whatever, but I mean, yeah, I mean it's kind of I think we take these tools and screen too lightly, way much. I don't think we really realize how how damaging it is for people and for everyone as a collective. As
Yeah, it's a tricky one because if you were to prohibit the use of screens, then those people who the kids who can't do it anymore, they develop a whole lot of other stuff. They feel my kids when they were young, when my kids were really young, we didn't have a television set, and my kids used to come home from school and say, we had nothing to talk about with the other kids because we don't have a television, and they just wanted to talk about what was on television. My kids felt really different as a result of that. Yeah. So, I mean, having it is a problem. Not having it is a problem.
yeah, well, after this is, I mean, that's why we are trying to find a school that corresponds to our value and our way of life. But I'm aware that not everyone are able to do this. But at some point, I think for me it was I cannot really remember, but somehow in my childhood I was like, okay, or I do what other people do, and I think it's, or I do something else, but I am seemingly against everyone, and it's hard life.
Mm.
But yeah, maybe it's personal, you know, but maybe I
Oh,
prefer
of
my
course. I mean,
kids to feel bad for some year.
I
But
don't know about you, Bianca,
know.
but when I was a kid reading books as I walked to school, reading books on the bus, reading books, you know, no other kids did that. I was the odd one out. I was a strange one doing that because they got together and played and whatever, you know what I mean? They did it differently to what I did it. So that now that was difficult as a kid. Now I look back and I celebrate that. That was wonderful. If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be here. So fitting in with everybody else. That's an interesting one, isn't it? And
I'm also I'm not so quick to give judgments on what our screens doing with us, because I always think that it had to be the same when humans, when we invented writing, and the parents were complaining, what is happening with these children? They can't remember anything. No sutta. What, 1,000 lines, and he can't remember it. He just goes to this tablet with writing. What is it is doing with his brain?
Yeah, well, you know,
We change.
there is a story that human civilization is getting better, but that's just a story. I have a different story. I don't believe that human civilization is getting better. So yeah, of course, every step was a downfall from our perspective. But you know, this is belief now. We are just talking and it's nice. Because there is this belief that, you know, civilization is just getting better, but says who? I mean, really?
Yeah, that's a crazy story to get into, isn't it? Because it's always a comparison, and it's a comparison to a
Yeah.
fantasy, not a comparison to anything real. Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
the story that's everything getting worse.
Yeah,
Is it
same
more
thing.
true?
No, same thing.
But
Yeah.
who can tell?
Mm.
It's just
yeah, but
changing.
you see, the thing it's what's happening right now, it's exactly what happened in everyday life. Like when you start to talk, there is kind of an hypnosis, you know, and you talk as a subject, and after you give your opinion, and if your value is different, and you know, you just get into some kind of hypnosis, and it's fine. It's fine because I know that, like you said, there is no conclusion. No one is right. We are just talking for fun.
Yeah, a little bit fun, but yeah.
I mean, if you take the Bible, they talk about the apocalypse, and in the Hindu there is this Meharvara. I don't know the name, but there is cycles, right? And there is this god Shiva. Shiva is the goddess of destruction. So even if I say that from my perspective, humanity is it's it's a downfall, right? It doesn't mean that it's bad in the absolute way. But but you know, this is more philosophy than than really I think what this group is about. And I like philosophy. That maybe that's why I get triggered.
Yeah, so you think that
sorry.
yeah, go on.
While you were talking, actually something from my childhood came up, and I mean, it's something I know quite well, but I felt like telling it to you, if that's okay, because yeah, I feel like it would be good, like to tell it. Just yeah, we talked. It's not about confessing or anything. It's just like to kind of have the feeling to leave it in a good place. It's like that maybe. Yeah, because we were talking about shame and having spines and saying like, go fuck yourself to everybody. And in my case, I think like or at least what I remember, the worst thing that happened to me when I was a child was like I was 10 years old and I had two best friends and we were all in the same class. And somehow we started to have really like a physical relation, like this playing around sexually when you are a child. I mean, it seems a bit strange to me to imagine that I was 10, but it was like really, yeah, for 3 years. And it was really nearly every day that we had this kind of physical contact. And of course, that was before puberty. I didn't really have any idea about what that could mean but I remember that I felt like a strong bond or intimacy or something because of those two friends. When he went to summer holidays with his family, I could really feel that I missed him physically and so on. And then in the sports lessons, the other boys in my class would like shout at me, "You're a faggot," and spit at me. But those two best friends joined in, and that was like, I think that was my biggest trauma. Like you feel like a big intimacy with people, and that's somehow also something secret. And then the other boys like bully you, and your so-called best friends like spit on you in front of everybody else. And I think that was like really, I mean, I had to chew on that like for the rest of my life. I mean, it was very difficult to trust in anybody. I mean, and the other thing is also that at that time when I was like 12, 13, I thought it was my fault. I didn't have a strong self, but this self was afterwards like built up, like really like a wall. I think I turned into a very egocentric narcissist person. I think when I was like 20, 25, I was super narcissist. And then also I always maybe I wanted to belong to a group, but nobody would really accept me in the group. And that was like my experience when I was a teenager as well. And then in the end, I started to turn the story around and think like everybody else is stupid anyway, and I can be glad that I don't have to join in with everybody, because then I don't have to do the stupid things they do and talk about the idiotic things that they talk about. And I think I'm still, yeah, by now I think I have really deconstructed all that. I mean, I'm not that arrogant anymore. I give more space to other tastes, other opinions and stuff like that. But sometimes I can still observe this mechanism, but
Sure. It's
but
still
yeah,
there.
then
How
also
did you cope with the betrayal that you felt when your friends joined that other group? Were
I
you
hate myself. I started to hate myself. And I started to drink alcohol when I was 13, and like
Right.
every weekend, I just like, yeah, that's like also like this kind of not having to feel the pain, not having to feel
Yeah.
I was very frightened by groups, being in groups.
At what point did you appreciate at what point did compassion turn up, where you recognized that your friends needed to feel like they belonged, or rather that they needed to deflect what you were getting, they didn't want to get as well if they admitted to. So by them joining that group against you, they were protecting themselves, weren't they? And at some point, you developed some compassion for that?
That's a good question. Not compassion. I can't. No, I can't say that it's compassion. It's rather like, well, I mean, it's many years ago. I didn't see them for I don't know how many years. I don't know what kind of person became out of them, but I'm sure it's not. I mean, it's anyway not the same person anymore. And I mean, they were kids as well, and yeah, actually, it's an interesting question because I haven't thought about that actually, because I think my first task was to be compassionate with myself, that I had to understand, no, that was not your fault. And
that's a big one, isn't it?
and yeah, okay, I have to say maybe I didn't really get deeper into it after having generated this compassion. Yeah, but you're right. I could have a look at it from this angle as well, but
I
I
mean,
didn't.
had they stood up for you, they would have got branded in the same way you were being branded, and that would be pretty scary for them, wouldn't it? That's where why they did what they did, I imagine.
Of course, yeah.
Have you thought about what would you do if you were in their place?
Yes, that's a good one. And you don't have to find an answer, just think about it.
You mean now or at the age of 10 years or 11 years? I don't remember how old I was, but yeah, I think I
then.
yeah. I mean, as I told you, I mean, my reaction after the situation was that I thought that it was my fault, and that means that I would not have had the strength to say, hey, what are you doing to this boy? No, probably not. Yeah, that's a good perspective. Yeah.
Yes, and this was what I was feeling as a child. That of course they are pushing me out, not letting me into the group. If I were in their place, I would do the same.
But now, I imagine that today, both of you would do it differently that you would have as a child.
I don't know.
That's a hard one, isn't it? Yeah, maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would, but I would do it because I experienced that, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, hadn't I experienced it? I don't know, maybe.
Mm.
I would still be cautious. You know, it happens that at our Buddhist Sangha, different people come to the meetings, and some are strange, and
Mm.
Yeah, I have to say, for many, many years, I had the belief, or I mean, my conclusion was that no matter which kind of group it is, if it's like, yeah, because I had some experience with people in Berlin who thought themselves as like left radicals, for example, or the Buddhists, or I don't know, any other group, no matter how nice their ideology is, but when it's like, I thought like when it's more than 5 people, there will always be a hierarchy. There will always be like something who is the other one, and somehow a comparison, and like the desire to expel some people from the group or something.
Yeah.
I experienced that with the Buddhists as well. So that's why I'm quite, I mean, my first experience with a group in which this is not happening is this one. So I'm changing my belief, but yeah, yeah, it was just my experience. Maybe this is like random, but
no, but also in groups like that, I can see that there is a feeling that a group built this safe place where I can be vulnerable, and there is a feeling that it is a delicate thing and it has to be protected. You know, and if someone comes in who doesn't respect,
Yeah.
then well, there can be very strong reaction from the group, and it's understandable.
Yeah, even this group, I can imagine somebody coming in that would be a, how would you put it, a disruptive influence, and there would be a reaction against that. I haven't seen it, but it's possible. I can imagine that maybe.
Yeah, someone coming in and pushing his morality on everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So sometimes maybe it's also necessary to maintain the feeling of safety, to expel someone if it's, yeah, if he's not respectful. I don't know.
Cross our fingers we don't ever have to do it. Yeah. Okay, well, it's time for me to go and cook tea. Yeah.
Enjoy your tea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.